Hello and welcome. This is a lesson on Learn British English Free on YouTube. It's been requested by my colleague Jo from Chile, and it is especially for her as well as everyone else. Jo is always really helpful in the English language group on Facebook, so this is partly a thanks to her for all her great lessons that she posts on there, and I'm sure that everyone else really appreciates it as well. Cheers, Jo. Now, the lesson Jo suggested is about acronyms which are common in Britain and in the English language here. An acronym is defined as an abbreviation formed from the initial letters of other words and pronounced as a word. What we've done is we thought of a few of the most common ones, and I've written a list, but we may have missed some, of course, so please do leave comments if you have any other suggestions. I'm going to explain each one of these, which you are likely to hear when you're in the UK, so it might be useful. And the first on the list is in fact the UK. Stands for the United Kingdom, of course, but it becomes an acronym when we say the UK. And we must always use the definite article before it, the UK, the United Kingdom. It doesn't make sense without it. The next, BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. I'm sure you've heard of this company. They are perhaps the most famous from Britain and around the world for television and radio in particular. When we pay our television license, it goes towards funding the BBC. I wanted to mention another of our television stations for this purpose. It's ITV. On our terrestrial television, as we call it here, the ones that everyone can watch, we have the BBC and also ITV. They do programs like The X Factor. And ITV stands for Independent Television. So that is a channel funded by advertisements rather than the TV license payers. NHS. The NHS is the National Health Service, who I work for, and it is of course the organisation funded through taxes which supports the healthcare system in the UK, the public hospitals at least, and other healthcare providers. DWP, Department for Work and Pensions. This is a part of the government which always comes up with important news stories to do with employment and also social benefits, things like that. So it's very important for those purposes. Hmrc, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. When you're talking about paying tax, then the organisation that does that on behalf of the government, that organises that, is Hmrc. And I've got a letter here. I receive letters from them as I work and pay tax. And this is what an official Hmrc letter looks like. Okay, sorry, it might not be very clear, but you can see that there's the official stamp in the top corner there. And it's got that kind of look to it. DBS check stands for Disclosure and Barring Service. This is the type of check that employees have to do if they want to start particular jobs. For example, in the hospital where I work, if someone wants to be a nurse or a healthcare assistant or another healthcare professional, they must do a DBS check. It's a criminal records check. Gcse, General Certificate of Secondary Education. This is the qualification we get at the end of secondary school if we pass our exams. We take them when we're 16, and that can define whether we go to college or university, something like that. GCSEs. NI, National Insurance. Everyone in the UK, or most people at least, get a national insurance number issued when we become adults, more or less, or a bit before that. And I think it's similar to, in other countries, you have things like social security numbers. The NI number is what each person has to help with allocating tax payments, and as well as tax payments specifically, we also pay national insurance contributions from our working salaries. We get issued with a national insurance card, and here is mine for you to see. I've blocked the number obviously, but as long as so everyone who has an NI number gets one of those cards. It looks exactly like that, red and blue. The last two things are to do with time, and we have two different time periods throughout the year. We switch them. Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, you might have heard of. There's a place in London where they keep track of the time there, and during mainly the winter months, that half of the year, we use Greenwich Mean Time. However, during the summer, or what summer we have here, we use BST, British Summertime, which is GMT +1. It means that we are 1 hour ahead of GMT. So if you're trying to organise events using the time, then you need to be aware of, first of all, which time period we're in, whether it's GMT or BST. And if it's British summertime like now, you can work out where we're at by looking at the Greenwich Mean Time and then adding 1 hour, because we're 1 hour ahead. That completes my look at English acronyms common to Britain. I hope that was helpful. Please do leave comments if you have anything you'd like to say or add. Thanks once more for Jo for her suggestion and for her ongoing help. Please do join us on Learn British English Free on YouTube and the British English page on Facebook, as well as other websites which are in the description to the YouTube video. The main one is www.learnbritishenglish.co.uk. My name is Chris. It's been a pleasure. Cheers for now. I will see you next time.